I don't know about you, but I've been hanging around on LinkedIn lately, and I've been seeing a lot of people struggling to find freelance writing jobs. I even asked my newsletter, when I sent out my latest newsletter to my Only Kane audience, about what their issues are, what challenges they're having at this moment. And the number one challenge is finding a writing job. All right. So while that is pretty general, I want to go through this pitching process that is a proven process that I've been using the entire time I've been freelancing. Now, the things inside of it may have been adapted to today's standards. I may have tweaked certain things, but the overall foundation of a pitching process is the same and will be the same from this time forward. So I want you to adopt a pitching process if you haven't already. Now, I know my students in Write Your Way to First 1K have modules and lessons on pitching. They have lots of guides about creating a pitching process. But if you still need help, make sure to follow the tips that I give here in this video. Now, before I go through this, I just want to let you know that my name is Elna from elnakane.com, and I have a brand new newsletter for you. It's called the Freelance Creator Files. This is a special private newsletter for my dedicated followers. I hope that's you, where I'm going to submit myself to challenges and I'm going to share all of that in that newsletter. I am launching a brand new pitching challenge next month, and I will be sharing what I'm going to be doing, the companies that I will be pitching to, how I'm going to create this process, and what the results are in this newsletter. If this process or strategy, this sort of new strategy, is successful, I will put it in my comprehensive program, Write Your Way to First 1K, or if it is built out enough, I may create a brand new masterclass for you. At this moment, if you want to see what it's all about and get more behind the scenes personal content, reflections, and all of that thing, then I encourage you to sign up to my Freelance Creator Files newsletter. All right, the first step to creating a solid pitching process is to have a loose pitching template. There are pitches that you can create yourself or find templates around online. I do provide a pitch archive in my program, Write Your Way to First 1K, so you can definitely use those pitches. I also shared a newer pitch that I created in the Book Clients in 30 Days Challenge. So I even have that. I have a private Facebook group for those students as well, and I shared the pitch that landed me my current gig that I have. So once you find that template, use it for all your pitches. Now, you can definitely change it up. The things with a loose template is that it's loose. You have certain things that you want to hit in each pitch email. For example, I need the right contact person name. I need to drop certain samples that will hopefully land the gig. So I need to have those ready. And I also need to have a solid call to action within each of my pitch. For example, I'm ready for a Zoom call when you are, or let's set up a time to chat, things like that, where I want to add some momentum to the pitches that I'm sending. The loose template is also personal. With each new pitch that you send out or you apply for a job, that it is personal to that one company, that you find something notable about that company. This will take you the most time. You might have to listen to a podcast. You might have to scroll LinkedIn posts from the CEO or content lead of that team. You might have to see if they're on YouTube and what kind of content they put out. All these things can help you figure out that one personal thing. The information that I provided in my pitch that landed me the gig was about the company's growth. So the CEO shared how much growth they're occurring in their business and all the people that they're hiring at the moment. So that was sort of like, I congratulated them on this immense growth that they're having. So something like that shows the person that's reading the email that I sort of know what's going on in their world kind of thing. Okay. So that's something personal to that company. I will change it for a different company. The other thing that you want to include in this loose template, or that you're going to be swapping out, is the challenges. Why do they need to to hire you. You need to give a specific reason to hiring you, and that's usually to fulfill some challenge that they're having. It also, you can also write about other things about you personally that stand out, but for this specific template, I usually have different challenges that I'm going to be targeting for this business, why they need freelancers in the first place, and I'm going to mention those challenges. And then the last thing about your pitch is to make it short. So with your template, have a short pitch, make it personal, and address the challenges of the client or the potential client. So when I say short, no more than 3 paragraphs at the most. Okay, so have it short so that it's easy for them to scan and read. All right, the second part of your pitching process is to have a follow-up process as well. Don't just send your pitches out to the interwebs and then move on. You need to follow up. These content leads nowadays are getting hundreds and hundreds of applicants. Even if you see a post on LinkedIn, I see often on my feed of a content lead saying that they're hiring for these roles, and there's literally like 200 comments on there. They're going to be inundated with lots of pitches. It's your responsibility to follow up with them. Fortunately, if you need help with what to say, how the process goes, all about follow-up, I do have a preview lesson in my program, Write Your Way to First 1K. It is a free preview of the lesson that I've created, and it's recently been updated. So let's take a look at this. Now, for new freelance writers, the thought of putting yourself out there only to be faced with rejection letters or worse, a non-response can cripple your chances of succeeding. Well, what if there was a way to always get a response from a pitch? Let's look at some facts about pitching. It says solopreneurs, smaller companies and startup companies often respond to your email pitch within 24 to 72 hours. This depends on when you send your pitch. So if you're one of the first few, most likely you'll get a response. But if the client found a writer within that 3-day window, you won't always hear back from them. This could slightly be longer depending on how crowded the market is, but I have been pitching randomly. This is in January, a response that I got within 24 hours. I'm going to be pitching again next month. So if I find that it's taking longer than 3 days to hear a response, then I will adjust this number. But for example, I have a basic pitch here, and then within 24 hours, they responded saying, "Thanks for reaching out and for your interest in writing for us. While we're not actively testing new writers, we'll keep your info on file to reach out when we're looking for new freelancers again." Which, it's just a nice way to say, we don't need you right now, maybe in the future. Who knows? It could happen. I don't know. Magazines and editors typically have a much longer time frame when responding to a pitch. It can be as little as 4 weeks or as long as 3 months. So be aware of that. And then big businesses and companies can take months to respond. These establishments are big and they are often busy. You may end up getting a generic, "We've received your application and we'll be reviewing it shortly" response. But then you have to wait, and you can apply in April and not hear back until September. This is true. I don't normally pitch like huge brands, like let's say Lululemon. The people at Walmart, when I worked at Walmart, they reached out to me, so I didn't pitch to them. So if I were to pitch to these big companies, I probably won't be hearing back from them for a while. Why you don't always get a response? Often the number one reason you don't hear from your pitch is because they found a writer. So better luck next time. Chalk this up to rejection as a learning experience and grow from it. Here's some other reasons. So I list some other reasons in here. That's crafting your follow-up. One thing I make sure to do is keep track of when I send off a pitch. So you should do the same. I give myself a time frame before I loop back and email prospect. Again, it's usually a week before I email the prospect back. Here are some follow-up email subject line ideas. You can just put in your email subject line follow-up, writing for the company, following up on my pitch, writing for the company, freelance writer, following up, writing for the company. You can see you have to be explicit about the company and that you're following up. In your follow-up email, you can say something like, "Hey, Bob, a few days ago, I sent you this pitch idea and I wanted to follow up to see if you're interested in pursuing it further. I'd be happy to talk about it in more detail with you. Let me know if you have any questions." Sometimes a prospect is just too busy, and that reminder follow-up is enough to get the ball rolling. You can send another follow-up email 3 to 5 days later from that one, and then you can use my secret weapon email. Or you can go straight into the secret weapon email. It's up to you how you want to do this. Here's a targeted follow-up. So after that initial follow-up, you have to send up another one. "Hey, Bob, I just watched your YouTube video or podcast, webinar, newsletter, and wanted to follow up on my last message about potential content writing roles. What really stuck out to me in your video was something they said that's relevant to the industry or content writing. I'd love to learn more about your content strategy at the company name and how my skills could potentially be a good fit for the thing. Please let me know if you'd be open to a quick call to discuss." Now, this is a very formulaic response, so I would add some more personality to it. All right, so just be aware of that. This is a template. You need to personalize it, jazz it up, make it your own writing. And then my secret weapon. But what happens if they don't open that email? For some reason, they don't get back to you for a while. This is what you can say. Hey, Bob, I'm just circling back as I haven't heard from you about your digital marketing writing position. I'm going to assume you went in a different direction and no longer need me. That's it. So you're cutting ties with them. They see that. And then it's a 50-50 if they decide to say, oh, no, I do want to hire you. I've just been so busy. And then they want to further the relationship with you. Or you just might not hear back from them because they're like, okay, she moved on, I moved on, no big deal kind of thing. All right, so there are some scenarios. I've been getting a lot of responses from my students saying that that secret weapon works, that they do get a job from that notification. That's what I mean by having a targeted or a follow-up process with your pitching process. The next part of the pitching process is to devote time to pitching. I don't want you just to say that I need to start pitching and not have dedicated time to it. With this pitching challenge that I'm going to be doing next month, I need to set up parameters that every morning from, let's say, 10 to 11, I will do the pitching, or I will do the sourcing, or I will do whatever it is. Okay. I have a list of companies, so I'm going to just get right into pitching, and then I'm going to mark in my calendar the follow-up times for those pitches. And the next day I'm going to do the same and mark the follow-up time for those pitches, and so on and so on. I'm going to make it systematic so that I have carved out time for this. The next part to your pitching process is to figure out how many pitches you want to send out, or that you can feasibly send out. In my situation, for the type of pitching that I'm doing, I don't know if I can send out more than 2 per day. For other types of pitches, you can send out probably 3 to 5 per day. So whatever you can do. If it's only 1 per day, then stick to 1 per day, every day for the month. You don't have to do it on Saturday or Sunday, but do it Monday through Friday, every day for that month, right? So figure out what that is. Like I said, for me, it's probably going to be no more than 1 to 2 a day. We'll see if I can do more. But you want to aim for something like 30 pitches a week, 50 pitches a week. Okay, go from that and then reverse engineer how many pitches you need to send that day, or you need to do all of them in one day. You might just only have one day to send all 30 pitches. Well, then you're going to be spending that whole day sending pitches. And then the last part of this pitching process is to stand out online. You have your pitch. You're going to have links in your pitch. You need to develop some kind of online presence outside of that pitch so that they can do some reconnaissance. They can research you. When people go and research my name, they can see that I have a LinkedIn profile, and then they can go to LinkedIn and see what I'm all about. They also see that I have a blog, that I have my writer website. I have all these things that are associated with my name that they can get some more information about me. Okay, so that's what you want to do. When I send my pitches in my signature, I have a link to my blog and my writer website. They can click onto that. If they click to my writer website, they're going to be presented with this homepage, and they're going to see how professional I look with this getup here. I have 2 pages for Hire Me. They can choose what they want. They can go right to my portfolio to see even more content. They can look at the people that I've worked with in the past, and then they can contact me. I have positioned my writer website so that it works for me. It's the way that I generate leads and clients. All right, so that's the process of the whole pitching process, is the figuring out who I'm going to pitch, having a loose template, then having a time frame to pitch, follow-up included in that, and then how many I'm going to be pitching, and staying true to that. Then having links to things online that I have, my blog, my website, things like that, my portfolio page if you want. You can only link to your LinkedIn if you want, things like that. All right, so hopefully that helped you. Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, if you want to learn more about what kind of pitching that I'm going to be doing next month, it's not your standard type of pitching, go ahead and enroll in my Freelance Creator Files newsletter. And don't forget to check out my video on how to stand out in your portfolio if you want to continue that pitching process. Make sure to check that video out, like this video, and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.